Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM20. It's Champions episode 49. We're at stage 19 of the Tour de France. It's just a punchy one today, and then we have a big climbing stage up Mount Ventoux tomorrow to decide the Tour de France. And Egan Bernal right back here. The only threat that remains. We've got a 7.5 minute gap over third place Tom Dumoulin, so comfortable there. We've just got to deal with Bernal. Today shouldn't be much of a challenge, but you never know. So let's prepare for it as we head in. We had Black Widow and Captain America on the front throughout the day, but other teams were committed to the chase. It's been the same 7 riders off the front for quite a long time. They've got a 1.5 minute gap. That's not much. They should be caught relatively quick. The pace in the field hasn't been crazy, but it also hasn't been light. And so it should put a bit of fatigue into the legs of the 7 up the road. All right, well, Hulk is the guy we ride for, but I want some protection behind him. So let's go ahead and put Doctor Strange at the rear end and then Gamora. And then we'll have Thor. And then we've got Storm. Okay. Spider-Man actually is up front already, aren't you? You are. So let's go ahead and put you in the order ahead. Get our -1 out of the way. That's because that pace has lifted, even though Black Widow and Captain America were already committing themselves. And there you go. You got a punchy rider in Spider-Man pushing. But that's for the upcoming hill, and I want
moving along at a fair lick. You've just got to hang
pushing
on.
for the sprint point at the moment. Damar going for some points. Okay, we're not even yet on the climb, but Black Widow's there. I want Spider-Man to drop back into 3rd position, and then we'll continue on forward with Black Widow, who's a climber in flat rating, and wanted Spider-Man's punchiness, if we can get even just a little bit of it on this climb. Part of me wants to push and attack and see if we can split the field, and part of me wants to just be conservative and set a tempo that's just high enough to, keep the field from responding and not allowing anybody to ride away and being able to respond to any attempted attacks, as we're obviously late in this tour and we clearly need to protect against
counter-attack by Ruben Fernandez.
Okay, they're lifting. 16k to go. We're almost on the climb itself. Captain America will take over quite soon. Spider-Man has recovered slightly, so at the moment we are getting that pace that we needed. Okay, Gel and others are starting to come along, so Captain America, start pushing. Goodbye, Black Widow. Job well done. Okay, hurting your teammates at the moment, as you're fairly punchy as well. 12k to go. Up the climb. That's pretty long, so we don't want to attack too hard too early. So back off a little bit.
Acceleration
as planned. We have made it hard on everyone, but we're also potentially making it hard on ourselves. I'm tempted, but uh-oh. Good, I caught on in time. Storm, go to the back of the group. Oh, get out of the way! Damn, Thor just lost 2 bike leaps.
A couple of teams have set themselves up as pacemakers for the pack.
Spider-Man
They
with
obviously
nothing
don't have
left.
anybody in the breakaway group.
Hey. There you go. Otto. Gels. We're already down to 4 riders with 9k to go. And not that steep of a climb. So yes, we've definitely pushed too hard too early. But that's going to put a lot of fatigue in legs. And now they are going to try to attack anyway. But how much do they have left in the tank to try to do so? And we'll see if that's something we've been effective about. Mark Soler, last rider up the road. Pedersen, Groenewegen, Trentin trying to attack. They're trying to go for the punchiness, but I think we've pushed too hard for that to be a viable option. Alright, Thor's done.
Arnaud Demar was caught in a fall.
And we go on to Gamora. There's Hulk. Doctor Strange still caught in the back, and that's why I put Hulk a little bit further up and wanted a rider behind to protect. Doctor Strange now having to waste energy to get up into position, and ultimately they're the ones that I'd rather have out front at the moment than Gamora. But let's give him a chance for that gel. 3.9k. Youngle's attacking. There's only one rider that I technically need to worry about. Doctor Strange has nothing left in the tank, so slide out of position, just protect from behind. 2k to go. Now, the finish is not on the descent. The finish is on the flat after, so we can only go so hard. There's still 90 riders in the peloton, and yet I've got most of the team off the back. That's worrying. Go to hit the top. Here's our top 2 riders in the points classification. Again, picking up KOM points. Gamora and Hulk, 1-2. Ciccone at 62. We got a 10-point advantage with just a single stage to go. Doctor Strange got dropped there, but we also have just 15 riders left at the front now. So that was difficult enough that we've got just a few riders left. Gamora, we can back off somewhat. I don't care if a few riders come back, unless Bernal was missed out somehow. Bernal is in the peloton, so... Can we get your heart rate down? Can we do it this way?
There are just 10 kilometers left.
Hulk just doing some light work at the moment. 30 in the chase group. Doctor Strange is there, so I don't mind if they necessarily come back. Gamora starting to recover, so that's good. That's what I was hoping for. And Hulk not working too hard. Nobody else is willing to help out at the moment. And if we switch that to relay, I don't think anybody's going to suddenly jump in. 5k to go. And we're up to 45. Doctor Strange is back. Doctor Strange needs to come to the front and take over on that work, because it should not be Hulk leading things out. Hulk set up. Doctor Strange takes over. And it's 1.7k. Just like that. Okay. Effort up for just a split second. Now sprint.
It's going to be very fast.
Sprint. And sprint. Oh, come on. Hulk can't get through. They're blocking him off.
Well, nobody can dispute that win.
Case Bowl,
It was
Almeida,
very
Phillips,
well
and
deserved.
Almeida gains little time. Not that that's a threat anymore. He's way too far down. 2 sprinters in the group, so no surprise that they're able to get on top. Gamora and Hulk, 4th and 5th, probably should have had some seconds, but Hulk could not squeeze through what looked like a large enough gap there, or just didn't have enough sprint, which is entirely possible. I didn't realize we had sprinters left. Case Bowl and Phillipson certainly are going to be quicker than Gamora and Hulk, and so no surprise. The Almeida part, unfortunate that they were able to grab a few seconds, but again, completely irrelevant at this point, because Egan Bernal is the only threat, and Bernal in the group down in 15th. One big stage to go. And finally, we have the decisive stage number 20. It's still very early on in this one. We're going to go pretty quickly as we approach that final climb, but I just wanted to give you a sense of how the stage is developing, how the stage is evolving. I had Captain America and Spider-Man on the front, both working, but then I saw, after the initial breakaway formed, you've got 9 riders plus 1 in No Man's Land that are now 4 minutes ahead. I really don't care if they end up claiming the stage, because that'll take bonus seconds away. What I care about is what sort of competition that we're going to get out of Ineos. And I quickly realized after that first Cat 3 climb, we got into that next sector, all of a sudden Ineos had most of their team right on the front. But it was my 2 riders who were doing all the work, and actually we're starting to see that a little bit again, even though it's only a 61 for Captain America. I want them contributing. There we go. At a 60, now I'm getting at least 4 of them in the mix. I'd rather have them burning just that little bit of energy, even if it's not much. If it hurts your stamina, as soon as we start that climb, they're going to fade quicker, even if they're actually yellow bar fresh, with that green bar getting lower from working on the front. So that's why I'm committing one rider, but barely committing, and hoping that Ineos takes up the reins for the most part, which you can see is mixed bag. But I'm only giving up one rider to do that, and in a minimalist kind of way. You see Captain America's green bar is definitely hurting compared to his teammates, but that's got to be the exact same thing. Even though they're not actually working, Hanau, Thomas, all those guys, they are still spending more green energy, even though they're not actually riding on the front. That's still a thing, still a factor. And again, ultimately, I don't actually care how far away that breakaway ends up getting. This is all about us versus Ineos for this final stage and what they can potentially do. And now Cofidis starting to get into the mix. They're wanting to pull that back. They're thinking about the stage, presumably. But that's bad for my ambition of even just slowly or moderately tiring out Ineos. That hurts. And we're seeing an attack.
Attack! It's a good moment to show the team colors.
Moss, Pogacar, Tuze. And Cofidis is now chasing it down, and UAE is now chasing it down. That's not about GC. Excuse me. It's either about the KOM or it's about the stage. Okay, 45k to go. We do need to get water here. I'm going to keep Captain America. You know what? I don't even need to do that anymore. You're done. Go ahead and go get some water. 5 minutes to the 9 riders at the front now. So 2 of the 3 who broke away end up making contact with that group. And they're another minute up the road from where they had been. Captain America really taking their time. They're not going to have much of a gap here. They still haven't even gotten the water, so they're still drifting very slowly backwards. Finally have water and coming back forward. They'll get it before the climb, but they're making it a lot tighter than it could or should be. Sprint point coming up, but there's already 9 placing, so I don't think we're going to see much of any sort of... There's DeMar going at the last second, but that's the only one, picking up a couple more points. No wonder Jakobsen and DeMar are just 14 points apart from each other. Sorry. Can't get my words out at the moment. Captain America, okay, you're done. Why don't we put you now on the...
The team trains are pulling the pack forward, although victory seems assured for the breakaway.
And the field has sat up. So never mind. Why don't you go here and let's get back on this. And Captain America, get to the front. Start that chase. I don't want us totally sitting up before the climb. 24k to go. Mont Ventoux ahead of us, 22.1 kilometers, 7.2% over 22k is a lengthy climb. 1,905 meters. Starts gradually early on, and we're hitting that early on now. Excuse me. It's really going to ramp up after the first 5k. All right, let's start setting the tone. We're going to go like this, and you're going to go like that. Ineos at the front, that's good. Tire them out. Have them being the ones making it hard. Captain America technically is committed, but you can see is not actually doing anything. So I'd love to see 4, looks like 4 Ineos riders burying themselves at the moment. But now it's Captain America on the front. But again, I'm only committing 1 rider. They go backwards.
Whoa, there's an attack from inside the breakaway group.
The gap of 6:10 to the breakaway. They're attacking, so they've left 1 rider behind so far. Even then, it's still starting to come back just a little bit. 10 seconds has come off of that one. But if they win the stage, they win the stage.
15 kilometers left.
All we have to do is not get beat by Bernal. And even if he does manage to beat us, we just have to not be beat by a minute and a half.
The breakaway is not to everybody's liking. The peloton has significantly increased its speed.
So Captain America setting the pace. Let's back off just slightly. Now 16 kilometers left to go. We are into the steeper sections
Quick attack by
right now. So we're into that middle sector.
Barbell.
That is the worst of the overall until you get, again, just before the top.
It's survival of the fittest, and evolution doesn't seem to favor those in the rear.
Down to
There's a growing list of
105, even
riders
though
left
Captain
behind.
America is barely even pedaling right now. But LaFay coming up. Increase in tempo. And here we go. The action begins. LaFay can't hold that for long, though. But it's not Ineos who's making things happen at the moment. It's Cofidis. Pogacar attacking. Oh.
He's going to take
Just
them on by
him.
himself.
18th, 24:08. Not a concern at all. Not a concern at all.
The pack
Almeida
doesn't seem to want to
was
react, and
a
the
threat,
gap
but he's
continues
fourth.
to widen with the breakaway. There's a sustained rhythm at the moment. Some riders definitely won't be able to keep up.
Lado Sidal now on the front.
Only 10 kilometers left.
Okay, we're going to gel for Spider-Man
And he
and
spurts away from
Captain
the group.
America.
He's
I
going
don't
for
think I have
victory.
anybody who's dropped back, even though we're... Okay, Thor riding solo. You need to go a little bit harder here.
It's in such percentages
Okay, we're
that the
seeing
strongest
some
can create
accelerations
gaps.
at the moment. 11K to go now. And we definitely are seeing some fatigue. It's a big climb, and we've already covered a lot of it. But you can see we're going to be past the hardest sector in a little bit. It's going to ease off. We're going to get above the trees, and then we're going to go into that final push. Down to 42 in the break, and also we're seeing... Let's see, Captain America is
Another attack.
done.
This time
We've
it
already
could
seen
go
these two,
all the
Storm and
way.
Thor. Thor was there. We upped his tempo, but he got dropped anyway. Okay, Spider-Man done. Oh, hello, Gamora. Let's follow Doctor Strange and then follow Black Widow, and then we're gonna make our way back up towards Hulk, who is just sitting pretty right there. So we're gonna have to train this thing. 10K,
Off he
4
goes.
riders.
He's giving it one last go.
That's rough, but down to 35. This thing just blew up very quick from over 100 down to a very small group, and now we're seeing the push, the attack. Martinez,
Counterattack
Landa,
by Landa.
Yates, Moss, Almeida. Pogacar's already been brought back, and Hulk, go ahead and get in the line. Doctor Strange, gel up. And Black Widow did her job very well, setting that up. And there is Bernal, right? Yeah, there's Bernal,
Swift
number 3.
acceleration by Mikel Landa.
Okay, you don't need to be pushing that hard at all. This is 8 kilometers and just 3 riders. And Gamora really doesn't have much left in the tank, so nice and easy. I don't care about those
5
guys going
kilometers
away.
remaining.
It's Rowan Dennis leading out Bernal. Really? Does he have that much left? 76 Mountain. Bernal attacking. He didn't have much in the
Again,
tank.
an attack
Now
is
it's
launched.
Bernal
The
going
group
solo.
has to break apart.
Okay, we need to respond, but we don't need to respond hardcore. Let him burn out an attack and just keep it close. 6K. He is attacking very hard, though. Gamora also very little left in the tank. She needs to gel up now. 5K to go. Hulk's gonna have to go solo here quite soon.
Falling behind. A team leader is falling behind.
Okay, I want Doctor Strange to go 99 and help pull Gamora. And where did Bernal go? You're telling me he's a minute and a half up the road already? We're going to be leaving everybody behind, chasing down Bernal, 3K. Minute and a half's what he
Sawyer goes
needs.
into the attack.
2.5K. There's Bernal. He's in sight now. 1.5K. We've ditched most of this group. Final kilometer, and we're coming back at Bernal. I don't know how he opened that kind of a gap. I know he was on full attack, but I don't know how he kept that going over that length. But we are definitely closing him down. And we are now starting to ride away. Vingegaard takes the stage. Soler gets second. Bernal might have a chance at third. He's going to get beat to the line, though. And the seconds tick by, but it's only about 30. Meaning we've got this in the bag. Doctor Strange and Gamora, their position a little bit in jeopardy here. 18th, 19th on the stage, but again, a lot of those were breakaway riders. So being scattered amongst the top of the standings, it's really hard to see kind of where everybody finished, as most of these riders in the top 15, 20 were all in the breakaway. So we have Vingegaard, Soler, Higuita, and then Bernal at 43 seconds. He was pulling Higuita and Barguil up that last part of the climb. Then Hulk, so we were the next on the road. You can see we were 40 seconds behind, but we were a minute and a half up overall. So we covered that off quite easily. I was very surprised that he was able to open a minute and a half gap in about 1K with, while we weren't riding hard, he was only slowly pulling away as I continued to use my riders up before sending Hulk to finish the climb on his own, which he did so well. So we didn't run out of energy or anything like that. It was surprising that Bernal was able to pull that kind of gap over such a short stretch. I mean, especially when he first took off, I mean, you could see that he was only opening one bike length at a time every 50 to 100 meters. That shouldn't result in a minute and a half. We never lost pace. We never slowed down. So I don't know how he suddenly accelerated after he did the attack, right? His general climbing pace was somehow faster than his attack pace. That was surprising. But anyway, he ends up over 1K, opening a minute and a half gap, which is pretty dang crazy. But Hulk pulled back 20 seconds of that up the final stretch and finished things off well. And losing 40 seconds is not a big deal when you have a minute and a half to spare and only the Champs-Élysées to go, which is why I played that conservative. So Enric Mas, minute 52 down. Jungels, Van Gils, Landa, Champion, Dumoulin all the way down in 12th place, loses a bunch more time. So there's your podium guy. Almeida, Ciccone, Roglic, Asgreen, all way down the order. So here we go. Here's the standings now. 48 seconds clear is Hulk. He is wearing that yellow jersey into Paris. Dumoulin nearly 10 minutes down at 9. 12 to Almeida. Gamora holds on to 5th place at 13. Moss, Landa, Doctor Strange stays in the top 10 at 18 down. Yates and Evenepoel round out your top 10. In the other classifications, with just that one to go, Jakobsen and Demar have a battle tomorrow. Hulk and Gamora keep their 1-2 in the KOM with Bernal just a single point behind Gamora. And then Ciccone slips to 4th place. Vingegaard, Barguil, Pogacar, Soler, Alaphilippe, Dumoulin, top 10. So really only a couple, 4 breakaway riders, I suppose, after the start. 1, 2, 3 in the under 25s ahead of Evenepoel. And we win the team classification comfortably ahead of Ineos and then miles ahead of Jumbo-Visma, AG2R, Movistar, EF, the only ones even within an hour.
Going through a bad patch.
So this is our final ride of the tour. We're in Paris. It's the Champs-Élysées. It's the Queen stage that isn't the Queen stage, because obviously the Queen stages are the big climbing ones, but this one is the spectacle that none of the other races can match properly. 153, 152 in the peloton. Riders are actually falling off the back. The pace has been hot throughout. There hasn't been a proper breakaway at all. This has been an aggressive race. Now 13K to go. We're going to set up a sprint train and go for it. Not that we have much of a shot for a stage like this, as we don't have proper sprinters here. But we do have some capable riders. Hulk's going to get a tow and just go to the back, even though they're a decent sprinter. Gamora is the one we're going to ride for. A 78-79 is not too shabby, but it should not win on a day like this. Black Widow's pretty good. Spider-Man's okay. And then Thor is decent, but Thor, not a great flat rating. So Thor you'd rather have early on and not actually being your lead out. Doctor Strange, not good, but we also don't want them to lose time. Storm's going to go probably first. And then we'll have Doctor Strange filter in and not last long. Let's get Spider-Man, good flat, and actually there's your better lead out right there. And then Captain America just right there in the middle. That's fine. Okay, there's our group. Let's get to it. Doctor Strange, also you're going to gel up early. And final 12 kilometers. Oh, come on. Come on, Storm. You can't even get through your own team. Be the Storm. Divert things from your path. Get to the front. Now 10K to go, and Storm is still ultimately in the same position she was, and now the team is sitting behind her. Finally, she finds a little bit of space out here on the outside as we go around the tunnel, and then we'll divert and go underneath. Complete that loop to go around, and now it's 7K to go. So on to Doctor Strange. Storm to the back of the group. 6K to go. We don't want anybody with a flat rating. In fact, we want to kind of just start pushing. 5K.
5 kilometers remaining.
Captain America now pushing.
Again,
Oh,
an attack
hello.
is launched. The group
Got
has to
gels.
break apart.
Oops. See, I haven't done a sprint in a while. Okay, 4K to go. On to Thor, on to Black Widow. We've done too much damage to our following riders. I don't know how they've done so much damage, but there's 10 riders. For a second, we had a full-on split from the field, which has worked out very well for me in the past. 2.5K to go. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to swap places. Really, game? You're going to do that to me? Come on.
Is on. The riders are setting themselves up.
Hulk leading out Gamora. And there's much faster riders riding away from us. Nope. Not today. Not today, folks. Gamora's going to get a top 10, but we made a meal of that. Well, the riders made a meal of that. Case Bowl takes the win ahead of Jakobsen, Aaron Burrow, Barbier, and we just get inside the top 10. Gamora 10th, Hulk 11th, Groenewegen and DeMar, the favorites, miss out massively. Case Bowl and Jakobsen at the top. I think Jakobsen's going to end up winning the points classification. Bernal was 16th.
Sheer willpower. This stage was a real strength sapper.
Pushing as early as I did is not something you normally do, but that little rise in there, if you remember my career mode quite a few seasons ago, our first ever Tour de France appearance was a necessity stage win, and we were not strong enough. We didn't have a GC rider, and we'd gone for stages and never won one. And then all of a sudden on this final stage, without sprinters really there at all, we did that little attack right there at the end, and it split off. And we saw here we got that temporary split off. But the difference between that one and this one was, in this one we opened little gaps on ourselves and had to close those gaps back down, and that spent a lot of energy on the riders. In that one, we cleanly got off the front, and then we were able to continue our sprint train on, opening a slight gap over everybody else, and they couldn't catch us and Kevin Vermark young at that time, Kevin Vermark, took the win, and then we completed the objective on that final stage. Surprisingly, here, that one doesn't pan out as the riders, again, like I said, opened gaps on each other and just kind of blew up along the way, and then all of a sudden we had very, very little energy to try to attack with over those last 2 to 3K. The only two with anything was Hulk and Gamora, so then I tried to use Hulk to lead out Gamora, which worked a little bit, but then Gamora just didn't have anything left. Too far, too much gone, and of course these riders are just way too quick for us anyway, so even a normal sprint certainly would not have panned out terribly well for us. But that's not what we were here for. This is what we're here for. Hulk claims victory. Gamora, Doctor Strange, both in the top 10. Gamora even a top 5. So that's the unique part to this. I've won Grand Tours. I've won the Tour de France multiple times. But a 9-minute advantage over third place, a 12-minute advantage over fourth place, that's different. But we had a tight contest with Bernal. But the main thing that's different is 2 other riders in the top 10. And that's not something I'm used to at all, because it's all for one and everybody else sacrifices, and we'll have somebody in the teens maybe, but certainly not in the top 10. Points finale on that one, of course, came down to this stage. Jakobsen claims it after being the only one even sniffing the podium of those 3 contenders. Case Bull, who was a bit further behind, not as focused on that competition, gets the stage win, which was impressive upon itself, but this is only 4th place. Hulk actually manages to take 5th place in the classification. KOM, of course, ended up going to Hulk, not Gamora. The final climb up Mont Ventoux, Gamora had it the whole way, and then Hulk took it on that final climb. Bernal also nearly snuck up on us and took it, and then we got that 1, 2, 3, and we got that team victory. So yeah, well done. Now, that's going to be our one major feature race. We kind of cruised through the Giro and did not prepare and struggled a bit. Here, we did just a little bit of preparation. I didn't recon any stages. We didn't have everybody on fitness peaks. We even had one rider fairly fatigued for this race. It was less than perfect, but Hulk was on a fitness peak at the right time during that race, and a couple of riders had fitness peaks. That was it. Most of the riders didn't have it as an objective or anything. That was mild preparation. I mean, minimal preparation. And it was enough for us to claim victory. Vuelta, if we really tried, we could absolutely go for GC again, or we could do something different with that. But it's not going to be a big showcase, multiple episodes like this one was. We'll get bits and pieces and do a little bit with that. We're getting close to the end of the season on this one, and this is the last full season that I'm going to run on here, and then we'll kind of experiment some things out to see what happens at level 20 for all the riders, and what do they get from level 20 when they have that ceiling. How close do they actually get? Well, we'll test that out. So we'll still run some test things, but we're just a handful of episodes now away from the end. Well, maybe more than a handful, but probably 2 handfuls anyway. But that's not a bad thing, because we're now just 1 month away from the release of PCM20. I'm Decathlon Gamer. That's going to do it for this episode. Be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.